The Communication Workers for Justice have them on the ropes, but BTL battled back today in a press conference about severance. And the debate rages over La Ruta Maya. Belikin is off the hook, and now the pressure is on Love FM to change the location where the race ends. Also, we'll show you a man convicted of having sex on 3 different occasions with an 11-year-old boy. And the former assistant director of immigration calls on police to act after his wife and daughter were assaulted on their property 1 week ago. We've got details of these and other stories in our newscast for tonight, Thursday, February 26, 2026. Good evening. With your news, I'm Indra Craig.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
Hola, soy el Dr. Rosado, pediatra. Hoy quiero hablar con los padres sobre rotavirus y cómo podemos proteger a nuestros hijos. El rotavirus es un virus que causa diarrea severa y vómitos, especialmente en niños pequeños. Esto puede provocar deshidratación grave y requerir hasta hospitalización si no se trata a tiempo. La buena noticia es que diarrea por rotavirus se puede prevenir con vacunas. La vacuna es segura, efectiva y ahora está disponible en su centro de salud más cercana. Se administra en gotas por vía oral a los 2, 4 y 6 meses de edad. Proteja a su hijo contra la diarrea severa. Visite su clínica más cercana.
Every great job starts at Brothers Habet, with the best supplies and the right support, including free delivery on site, so you can focus on the job. Brothers Habet, working with contractors since 1983.
What may happen before? Me don't know where that. That's not PUP.
It takes a lot to stand up for what's right, and the Deputy Prime Minister did just that.
Ultimately, it's the people of Belize who owns the company. So if any acquisition is supposed to take place, the people of Belize have to bless it.
And someone's not happy about it, because this was never about benefiting you, the people. They tried to push an acquisition no one wanted, an acquisition that would only benefit their families, all the while using your company.
BTL won't have to take a chill pill, you know. They won't have to shelf it.
Cordell for the people, Johnny for himself.
Champion security, champion security, champion security. Yeah. Your security is our business, so we gonna protect you like a champion, like a champion.
Guess what, Mr. Handsome? Yeah, over there, Champion Security. This is the place to be. What does sign say? Champion Security. Here at Champion Security, we provide quality service. You know why? Such as triology lock, fire alarm, IP camera system, gate operator, biometric lock, and alarm system. Champion Security. Make a go check out where they go on inside of Champion Security. Boy, nice to meet you, my brother.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit more about Champion Security.
Well, welcome, Mr. Hanson. Here at Champion Security, we offer fire system, alarm system, camera system, gate operator, access control, and also trilogy locks and magnetic locks. Everything you need to do with security systems for residential and businesses, you could find everything here at Champion Security. We also consist of 12 technicians, and we offer technical support 24 hours. So anything you need for your security systems, you could find everything here at Champion Security.
Remember, guys, here at Champion Security, we live by our motto, where safe stay is our business. Give us a call now. Don't forget to check us on Facebook, Instagram, and all the social media platforms. And continue to shake it to the max all the way. Champion Security, the best place to be. We care for your safety.
You wanna rent it? That's not a problem. We got remote gate.
En Atlantic Bank, tu comodidad es nuestra prioridad. Nuestro centro de contacto está diseñado para mejorar tu experiencia bancaria. Con una amplia gama de opciones de servicio al cliente, ahorras tiempo y esfuerzo. Puedes llamar fácilmente para bloquear o desbloquear tus tarjetas de débito y crédito, realizar consultas de cuentas y acceder a información detallada de tus tarjetas. Ya sea que necesites asistencia con la banca en línea, apoyo para comercios o consultas generales, nuestro equipo está listo para ayudarte. Para mayor comodidad, si todos los operadores están ocupados, puedes dejar tu número y un operador te devolverá la llamada lo antes posible para asegurarse de que recibas el apoyo que necesitas. Para mayor seguridad, es posible que necesitemos verificar tu identidad con un conjunto de preguntas sencillas. Recuerda, Atlantic Bank nunca solicitará tu nombre de tu usuario ni contraseña de Atlantic Online por llamada telefónica, mensaje de texto o correo electrónico, asegurando que tu información personal permanezca segura y protegida. Nuestro equipo de apoyo está disponible de lunes a viernes, de 8 a.m. a 6 p.m., en inglés y en español. Simplemente marca al 223-1212. Esta es la línea dedicada para nuestro centro de contacto. Atlantic Bank se compromete a brindarte un servicio excepcional y las herramientas que necesitas para administrar tus finanzas de manera conveniente y segura. Aprovecha al máximo nuestro servicio del centro de contacto.
Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
This fight over nationalizing control of telecommunications, the government there seems to want to be an authoritarian government.
Washington is watching, and Belize is becoming a red flag.
For a long time, they were under the radar. They could get away with it.
The Prime Minister and his chairman thought this would go under the radar, but they caught the attention of the White House.
And you saw it in the seriousness of President Trump's national security strategy. They're willing to be aggressive and do whatever they can against these individuals who are taking these actions.
Is a payout for the Prime Minister's family worth American intervention in Belize? They are playing a dangerous game with our country's future, and we are the ones to pay the price.
February is all about Honda. Get special pricing and discounts on all Honda products. Enjoy up to 25% off select Honda products and 20% off Honda parts. Don't forget your B-Bucks whenever you make a purchase. Love your Honda is all about deals and discounts on Honda products throughout the month of February. Only at Benquip Equipment Parts Service.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
Imagine, a ref calls a technical on LeBron, ejects him, then walks to the bench, puts on a jersey, and checks into the game to take LeBron's place. WTH? That's what happened at the central bank. First, Kareem Michael was a deputy governor for financial supervision, basically the referee for the banks. And while he was in charge of that department, Choice Banks' license was cancelled. Not too long after, Mr. Michael resigned from the central bank and went as a paid private contractor to run the shutdown of the same Choice Bank. When he was finished, he simply walked right back into his old job at the central bank. Who does that? An arrogant Belizean public servant who knows all and thinks he's too big for his judgment to be questioned by anyone.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
Negotiations between the Belize Communication Workers for Justice and BTL are at an impasse, but the BCWJ is a side which has remained on the offensive, vocal, public and plain-spoken, accusing the BTL side of bad faith. Today, the BTL negotiating team tried to change the narrative by hosting its first press conference. BTL's team confirmed that it will indeed pay all the severances owed, including those outside the 6-year limitation period, along with the 6% interest, but they are accruing it from the date of the CCJ ruling, which was back in November. The BCWJ wants the interest accrued back to their date of termination or resignation. The difference in cost there can be as much as 50 times more. BTL's internal legal counsel, Kellerua Witch, explained that rather than going through the BCWJ, they are cutting out the middleman, and former employees will now have to write directly to BTL.
Based on legal advice received by BTL, certain claims, including severance claims, are subject to 6-year statutory limitation period. By law, interest is awarded on judgment debts for the particular litigants in a claim, and the award of prejudgment interest, if any at all, is within the discretion of the court. However, in the interest of reaching a resolution of outstanding severance claims by statute-barred former employees, BTL took the decision to make severance payments to all former employees who qualify under Section 183 of the Labor Act but are now outside the 6-year limitation period. BTL, as you know, engaged in good faith discussions with the Belize Communication Workers for Justice, BCWJ, in that regard. Despite BTL's best efforts, all negotiations with BCWJ have broken down and have come to an end. Now, BTL wishes to inform former BTL employees that BTL will make severance payments to all qualifying employees pursuant to Section 183 of the Labor Act, even though statute barred by Section 4 of the Limitation Act, plus interest calculated at 6% per annum from date of the CCJ judgment in Irvin Marine and Belize Telemedia Limited, which is November 5th, 2025, to date of payment. And BTL invites all former employees who believe that they qualify for severance payments under Section 183 of the Labor Act to submit their information and details for review by emailing severance@livedigi.com. Now, each submission will be carefully reviewed by BTL, and where the statutory criteria at Section 183 of the Labor Act is met, BTL will pay severance payments together with interest calculated at 6% per annum from the date of the CCJ judgment in Irvin Marine and Belize Telemedia Limited to date of payment.
And once BTL assesses those claims, it will make payments within 15 working days. However, only if certain requirements, which explained, are met.
Severance pay. An employee qualifies for severance pay once they have completed at least 5 years of continuous employment with the employer, and the employer terminates that employee for reasons that do not amount to dismissal. Or if the employee retires on medical grounds because after having completed 5 years of continuous employment. And for gratuity equal to severance pay, the employee is required to complete at least 10 years of continuous employment with the same employer, and that employee resigns from that employment after having completed that 10 years of continuous employment. We're currently assessing over 500 employees, and you have to appreciate that BTL gets requests almost every day, and so the numbers are dynamic. And we're doing our best to process them as quickly as they come.
And while it may not be what the BCWJ wanted, and we'll explain why later, it's a step up from when BTL announced it would not pay those who exceed the 6-year limitation period. What changed their minds? Well, was it governmental pressure? Persistent protesting? No, they said they came to the decision all on their own.
Can you share if it's pressure from central government that led you to yield to pay severance, or perhaps the demonstrations that BCWJ has been holding?
Certainly not. You have to remember that BTL is managed by its board of directors. Our board of directors know and understand their fiduciary duties, which include acting in the best interest of the company. And the board, in its wisdom, decided that notwithstanding the limitation period, and even though BTL is not admitting liability, it is in the best interest of the company to settle these severance payments to our former employees who left more than 6 years prior, because these former employees helped build this company and make it what it is today. And the company is in a position where it is able to pay these severance payments, even though the company is not admitting any liability, and even though the limitation period applies. And the company values its position as a good corporate citizen, and if the company is able to meet these payments, the company has decided to pay these severance payments to our former employees. So to answer your question, Marisol, it is not because of pressure from external sources, whether it is from the government or whether it is from demonstrations or from the media. The board took an independent decision which was based on what is in the best interest of the company. And you also have to appreciate that it is in the best interest of these former BTL employees, because they won't have to spend money to go to court and pay lawyers. BTL is going to honor these severance payments once our former employees who left more than 6 years prior meet the criteria in Section 183 of the Labor Act.
And while BTL had already agreed to pay the severance, the interest proved to be the point of contention. The 6% arose because that is what the CCJ ruled. However, a witch explained that the ruling applied only to the appellants in that case, not the members of the BCWJ or anybody else who has not been paid, since BTL has already settled its debts with the appellants. He also explained why they believe that BTL is paying more than what they are actually obligated to, since the BCWJ has not gone to court.
Now, the 6% that was paid to those former employees who left within 6 years, that 6% was arrived at because the company at that point was not contemplating paying beyond the 6 years. Now, you have to appreciate that the company's position has changed since then, and the company is now going to pay severance payments to those former employees who left more than 6 years prior. So the considerations are now very different in terms of interest, because the company has agreed to settle obligations which it has been advised. I also need to add that interest is not as of right. This interest which litigants get comes from statute, from the Senior Courts Act, and you have to plead it. And you plead it in your claim at the court, and you succeed in your claim, and the court determines your interest under that provision of the Senior Courts Act. So the company paying interest now is actually the company paying beyond what it is required to pay, because these matters have not gone to court. Only the matter of Irvin Marin and his fellow litigants went to court. And that gives you full context as to why.
So what's the problem? Well, while BTL has agreed to give the 6% interest, as we explained, they're only planning to do so for the time period between the CCJ ruling and when the checks are written. However, the BCWJ demands that the interest be paid from the time the employee left the company, which can be decades. The difference in that payout is vast. I mean, we're talking about a few $100s as opposed to thousands of dollars. The Chief Human Resources Officer explained that the two parties could not come to a compromise, and that is where the negotiations broke down.
If we're both saying we're talking, and we're both saying we don't want to go to court, the expectation that we will give and you will get everything that you believe you should get if you go to court cannot be the premise that we're talking, in our view. You can't think that you will end up getting everything that you believe you would get if you go to court. If it is that we're talking outside of court and we want to settle, both parties have to agree to get something and to give up something. That's the spirit in which we approach the discussions. So I go back to, I think there was an expectation we realized, despite our improved positions and offers along the way, that there was an expectation that, well, we're moving, they're moving, so we could get more and we deserve what the others got from going to court. And I think that fundamental difference in opinion that you should get exactly what those who went to court get, even though we're not at court and you're not giving up anything, is a big disconnect. And two, I will put it mildly to say that the manner in which we were engaged this last time around, this second meeting, the tone, the spirit, the lack of professional expertise as we would want to see it was what we were engaged with. And we recognize that for those two reasons, being so far apart, you're trying to get the 6% and everything that comes with a court judgment, along with the approach, is not the spirit in which we can reasonably negotiate. And that is why, in our view, for those two reasons, it broke down. And why we're here today, to tell everyone in Belize that the company wants to move forward without delay and settle with everybody in the same manner. So whether you are being represented by BCWJ, whether you write on your own to the mailbox, whether you come through an attorney, whatever it is, BTL's board has approved that we want to pay, and we want to pay in this manner, and we think it's reasonable to give the severance and interest from November 2025, when the judgment was handed down, to whenever we actually cut a check for persons.
But as media activist Yaya Marin puts it, fool the talk, but not a fool to listen. She went back and forth with a witch, saying that by not meeting the BCWJ's demands, they are going against the CCJ ruling and thus breaking the law. Here's how that exchange went.
Uno not follow the CCJ ruling, and I don't know, like uno could contact like legal language, but the CCJ ruling said this. How uno, like if one of we judges not follow the law and come for a long time, including the Labor Department who not enforce the ruling. So unless I got it wrong, brother, explain it to me. The CCJ ruling on November 2025 say, and then the Prime Minister say, and then the Labor Minister, who the attorney say, isn't the 6% the standard when it comes to severance? I'm asking in the court, isn't the 6% standard?
6% interest is prescribed by the Senior Courts Act, and that is awarded on judgment days.
So what that mean? The question
that means that when you succeed in your claim at court, the court can award you that 6% because the Senior Courts Act has made provision for that 6%. And then the court may or may not give you interest from the date before judgment. It is at the discretion of the court.
So the CCJ ruling never says 6% from the severance? The CCJ ruling did not say that?
We have complied with the order regarding the interest and regarding the severance payments as ordered by the CCJ. You have to remember that in Irvin Marin, the order that was made was in relation to the parties in that case. The order was made against BTL in favor of Irvin Marin and the other appellants in the Irvin Marin judgment.
Okay.
So we have fully complied. All sums under that judgment order have been paid. It is absolutely wrong, incorrect, and false for anyone to say that BTL has failed to comply with the CCJ judgment. That is an uninformed opinion, and it is absolutely false.
Okay, that's what you say. But not because you say so, mean that so. They have other legal minds like Glenfield Dennison. You're not the only attorney. That you don't know, and then not because we don't know attorney, we don't got common sense and can't think and reason for ourselves. So I tell you categorically that's not how we receive it.
And Marin will likely be a part of the BCWJ's protest tomorrow. As we told you, they will be in front of Chairman Mark Lizarraga's home and business at Southside Meats. He was notably absent from today's event. We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll show you a man sentenced for having sex with a minor, and the debate rages over La Ruta Maya. Belikin is off the hook, and now the pressure is on Love FM. Don't go away.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
February is all about Honda. Get special pricing and discounts on all Honda products. Enjoy up to 25% off select Honda products and 20% off Honda parts. Don't forget your B-Bucks whenever you make a purchase. Love your Honda is all about deals and discounts on Honda products throughout the month of February. Only at Benquip Equipment Parts Service.
What may happen before? Me don't know where that. That's not PUP.
It takes a lot to stand up for what's right. And the Deputy Prime Minister did just that.
Ultimately, it's the people of Belize who owns the company. So if any acquisition is supposed to take place, the people of Belize have to bless it.
And someone's not happy about it. Because this was never about benefiting you, the people. They tried to push an acquisition no one wanted. An acquisition that would only benefit their families. All the while using your company.
BTL won't have to take a chill pill, you know. They won't have to shelf it.
Cordell for the people, Johnny for himself.
I'm Randall Friesen and I manage Westbell Produce, better known as Granny's Foods. That's our main brand. So we offer high quality grains, beans, rice, and we also offer corn chips made from 100% locally grown corn. We saw a need for high quality locally produced products. A lot of the best products are being exported, and we said, you know, we need to keep some of the best products here in Belize rather than export everything. Atlantic Bank has helped us achieve our goals by providing the financing for us to be able to launch products faster than we would without the financing that they offer. We find that Atlantic Bank is very customer friendly, especially with small and medium-sized businesses. We find that Atlantic Bank is more than willing to go the extra mile. They try to understand your business. So when we go to Atlantic Bank with a certain need, we find that they try to develop a solution that will meet our specific need. I would encourage any small business owner to go to Atlantic Bank for their financial services. They're very friendly. And just overall, their service is excellent.
For decades, BEL has powered Belize's growth and progress, lighting homes, energizing industries, and fueling national development. But in a world reshaped by extreme weather patterns, digital transformation, and evolving customer needs, the future of energy demands a new approach. The future of energy is now, and it's not just about new technology. It's about people and how we use, manage, and store power smarter. BEL is leading the transformation, blending modern advancements with the wisdom of sustainable energy practices. Integrating technologies will redefine how Belize produces and uses energy. With distributed generation and smart grid technologies, customers are becoming power partners. Energy is no longer a one-way street. BEL is making key investments that will reinforce the grid to make this a reality, ensuring energy security for generations. At BEL, we are more than an energy provider. We work to safeguard Belize's energy future, which will have demand response programs, where customers will be able to shift use during peak hours to take advantage of the new time of use or off-peak rate structures, customer energy portals, real-time insights and tools to track usage and manage energy smarter, smart metering, advanced metering infrastructure, faster, safer service and actionable energy insights, distributed generation, integrating rooftop solar, microgrids and battery storage for two-way power flows into the national grid. Together, we are bringing you a brighter tomorrow.
Nando's Wholesale is the distributor for the full line of Badia spices, including the original complete seasoning, the perfect combination of ingredients and spices prepared to enhance the natural flavor of your favorite foods. Also, cinnamon powder for all your desserts, fruits, and beverages, and as special dishes. All these are available in commercial sizes or restaurant packaging. Nando's products are available at your local retailer or contact us at 222-5000. From Corozal to Toledo, Nando's is proud to be serving Belize as its #1 wholesale distributor for over 35 years.
Imagine, a ref calls a technical on LeBron, ejects him, then walks to the bench, puts on a jersey, and checks into the game to take LeBron's place. WTH? That's what happened at the central bank. First, Kareem Michael was a deputy governor for financial supervision, basically the referee for the banks. And while he was in charge of that department, Choice Banks' license was cancelled. Not too long after, Mr. Michael resigned from the central bank and went as a paid private contractor to run the shutdown of the same Choice Bank. When he was finished, he simply walked right back into his old job at the central bank. Who does that? An arrogant Belizean public servant who knows all and thinks he is too big for his judgment to be questioned by anyone.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
A father of two will serve 7 years for unlawful sexual intercourse with an 11-year-old boy. That man is 25-year-old Kenrick Lanza, who appeared in the High Court today before Justice Candice Nanton for his sentencing. Justice Nanton found Lanza guilty of unlawful sexual intercourse with a minor on 3 different occasions between February and April of 2020. Today, a mitigation hearing was held where character witnesses spoke well of Lanza. The judge noted the aggravating factors that the victim was only 11, the prevalence of the crime, and that the offense occurred in the presence of another minor. She also noted that threats were made towards the victim by the convict. With that, Nanton handed down a 7-year sentence, leaving him to serve 6 more years since he had already served a year during a pre-trial custody period. Prosecutors representing the DPP's office was Joseph Perez Lanza was represented by Abibi Mogale of Lyndon Jones and Associates. And the news of another disturbing sex crime. A 15-year-old accompanied by her mother reported to police that on 2 separate occasions in June of 2025, a man had sexual intercourse with her. The minor is also reported to be 24 weeks pregnant. As a result, a 58-year-old Belizean laborer from southern Belize has been charged with 2 counts of unlawful sexual intercourse and 2 counts of child prostitution. Tonight, a police officer is recovering after he shot himself just outside the Precinct 1 police station this morning. Around 7:55 a.m., 33-year-old police constable Inebesi Zuniga, attached to the Special Patrol Unit, accidentally discharged his service weapon while inside a police mobile. Initial findings indicate that a constable had just cleared 2 service weapons handed over by another officer. One of the weapons was then issued to Zuniga, who, while clearing and loading it, accidentally fired a single shot that struck his left foot. Zuniga was transported to the KHMH, where he was admitted in a stable condition. The firearm was documented, sealed, and labeled as an exhibit as part of the ongoing investigation. The controversy in the canoeing community continues to rage over where the Rutamaya race will end. But tonight, Bowen & Bowen has somewhat distanced itself from the organizers of the 2026 Belikin La Rutamaya and is calling for what the company calls a breaking of bread, or, as they put it in branded terms, a Belikin meetup. They are calling on the Canoe Association, the race organizers, the Harrison family, Search and Rescue, and other stakeholders to sit down together over a Belikin and have an honest conversation about the race. Well, the paddlers are starting to put options on the table on how they will protest against the decision made to end the race at the Grand Resort and residents at the Halover Bridge. Today, we spoke with Vice President of the Belize Canoe Association, Elvin Penner, who is sending a threat to Love FM that if they do not change the location for the ending and return it to the Balkan Bridge, there will be repercussions.
It's pretty much a one-man show, and it has been a one-man show for the most part of the La Rutamaya. They have made a choice to end this year's race at a very unstable, unprepared, dangerous location, hazardous location, without consulting any key stakeholders in the race. So if I were in the position that Belikin or Bowen & Bowen finds himself in right now, I would distance myself from the organization and make it known that their goal is definitely to support the race and the paddlers and the entities that make the race. So I applaud them for doing it. I think it's a bit late, even for them, because they have been, through Love FM, associated with the actual name of the race, which I think was very unfair, and I've spoken about this before. But I applaud them for at least now implying that they would like to. I think one of their suggestions is that we should sit down over a beer, which of course I disagree with having used that particular slogan, but it is name branding that they're doing, which all companies have the right to do their own name branding. So I applaud them for having distanced themselves now from the organizers and are willing to listen to us. We have a meeting on Saturday where we'll bring this whole situation to our membership. And then I'll be able to speak on behalf of the Belize Canoe Association. I said I would applaud Belikin or Bowen & Bowen to have made this distinction, because this gives them a chance to continue being a part of the race even when Love FM is not. And I'm saying this is not a threat to Love FM. This is a promise that if they do not change back the race finish to Balkan Bridge, if they do not change the race finish back to Balkan Bridge, I anticipate the paddlers to do some serious protesting during this race. Not trying not to hurt the race, but to hurt our common enemy. I would say common enemy, which is the organizer, who obviously has no regards for us.
Penner has been the lead voice since the decision for the change was made, and he gave us insight into the options on the table. Penner explained that on Saturday they will be having a meeting and the decision will be made by members of the association, after which they will choose how to proceed. Here are some of the options they are considering.
The suggestions on social media, like I said before, and I've gotten calls from a lot of paddlers and sponsors and past presidents of the association and past winners of the race, to boycott the race. If the paddlers say, well, we still want to boycott the race, well, then none of our association paddlers will paddle this race. We can't force them to paddle the race. They tell us what to do. We don't tell them what to do. We represent them. We have a civic duty to represent them because they elect us. The other suggestion on the table is to totally boycott Love FM as the promoters of the race. That none of our teams, none of the Belize Canoe Association members give Love FM or any entity of Love FM one interview during the 4 days. Not one. Other one, of course, is, do we want to even do more? Do you want to protest even harder and actually do what you were just suggesting that paddlers have said, to still finish the race at Belcon Bridge? Well, we can't finish the race at Belcon Bridge because the Ruta Maya this year is finishing at the Grand Resort. But we don't have to go into that compound. We can do something where we invite our paddlers at Belcon Bridge. So they just simply have to paddle half an hour longer to get to the point where we're all going to welcome them, which would totally defy them having wanted to stop it at that dangerous point in at the Hollover Bridge.
The race is a week away, and we'll see how things unfold in the next few days. Former Assistant Director of Immigration Ismael Polido is tonight bringing to light a case of assault where his wife and daughter were targeted. Polido explained that his 20-year-old daughter has been having a long-time issue with a girl in the area, to the point that police have gotten involved. Last Friday, a group barged into his business at the corner of Joseph Andrews Drive and Bullet Tree Road looking for his daughter. Well, when they found them, they beat them both, and it resulted in injuries to both women. We spoke with Polido today in Canoe, where he replayed the incident briefly, saying that he only wants peace.
The police have recommended in the past mediation, of which we complied in doing, but it didn't materialize because I believe that both parties should have been present so that we can be bound to peace, to protect what is our duty as citizens in our country and desist from any wrongdoings. On the day in question, my daughter and wife came to me and said that the person in question was once again indirectly throwing provocations at them and at a business location. And when she said that to me, I said, you know what, we need to go again and report it, because this was already before the team at the police, where they were seeking some sort of mediation arrangement where both parties would agree on and desist from getting into that back and forth. At around 4 o'clock, I was at my office conducting business because I am presently a lecturer, when a group of women barged in my office. I would say it's a group of 6 adults, and there were 2 young girls in there. Most of them I knew. One of them I didn't knew, or I don't know at all. They came into my office, bottles in hand, Belican bottles in hand. I smelled the odor of alcohol. They didn't come to my establishment, to my private business, my property. They didn't come here to conduct business. They came here with some sort of premeditated intent to assault. It was horrible, and we were outnumbered. I feared for my life. My daughter was being attacked before me. My wife fell on her knees. She has broken her patella. There's a fracture on her patella. We have all of these documents to prove that they got hurt. And I don't condone violence. I know that the girl also got hurt because this is a fight. But all of this could have been avoided. It could have been avoided.
For now, his wife is left recovering from her injuries. And we'll take a second break now. When we come back, we'll talk to the author of a new book who's been distilling her poems for 30 years. And rest in peace, Rio. We look at the passing of one of our veteran journalists. Don't go away.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
At Atlantic Bank, your convenience is our priority. Our contact center is designed to enhance your banking experience. With a wide range of customer service options, you save time and effort. You can easily call in to block or unblock your debit and credit cards, perform account inquiries, and access detailed card information. Whether you need assistance with online banking, merchant support, or general inquiries, our team is ready to help. For added convenience, if all operators are busy, you can leave your number and an operator will return your call as soon as possible to ensure you receive the support you need. Depending on your transaction type, we may need to verify your identity through a set of security questions. And remember, Atlantic Bank will never request your username or password for Atlantic Online via phone call, text, or email, ensuring your personal information remains safe and secure. Our support team is available Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. in both English and Spanish. Simply dial 223-1212. This is a dedicated line for our contact center. Atlantic Bank is committed to providing you with exceptional service and the tools you need to manage your finances conveniently and securely. Take full advantage of our easy-to-use contact center services today.
Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
What may happen before? Me don't know where that. That's not PUP.
It takes a lot to stand up for what's right. And the Deputy Prime Minister did just that.
Ultimately, it's the people of Belize who owns the company. So if any acquisition is supposed to take place, the people of Belize have to bless it.
And someone's not happy about it. Because this was never about benefiting you, the people. They tried to push an acquisition no one wanted. An acquisition that would only benefit their families. All the while using your company.
BTL won't have to take a chill pill, you know. They won't have to shelf it.
Cordell for the people, Johnny for himself.
A clarification tonight regarding a story we aired on January 27th concerning credit card fraud in the BPO sector. In that report, generic background footage of a local call center was shown. We wish to clarify that the business featured in the footage was Infotel International, doing business as Voice International. Channel 7 makes it absolutely clear that Voice International and its employees were not involved in any of the activities described in the story. We apologize to the management and staff of Voice International for the use of that footage and for any unintended implication to the contrary.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
Wake up to positivity and inspiration. It's a fresh and diverse twist on your mornings. Tune in to Sun Up on 7 every weekday morning at 6:30 a.m. right here on your Nation Station, Channel 7. It's the morning show you don't want to miss.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
The 50th CARICOM Heads of Government meeting in St. Kitts and Nevis will conclude tomorrow with a closing press conference scheduled for tomorrow morning. Today, there was a leaders' retreat on the island of Nevis where the leaders were able to speak openly about issues confronting the region. Earlier in the week, Belize's Prime Minister Briceño met with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and he said it was constructive. He discussed the challenges of regional security pertaining to Belize and its vulnerability in sharing borders with Mexico and the shared concerns over the cartel influence. Residents living near East Collet Canal are raising the alarm after they say a gang tried to kidnap a minor on Monday night. This video shows someone running out of a car and chasing another person who is turning the corner but is unable to catch them. When the pursuer returns to the vehicle, several others are outside the car observing. The residents say they made a report with names on Tuesday at the Raccoon police station, but today they were told the report cannot be found. The residents are now coming to the media to try and bring attention to it. She turned her pain into poetry and later a publication of her life's work. Brenda Marie Herrera launched her first book of poems today titled Reflections and Meditations, inspired by a look back on her life and what she did to get through it. Jo Marie Lanza has this story.
Brenda Marie Herrera made her debut today as an author of her first book of poems titled Reflections and Meditations, a collection of works inspired by 30 years of struggles and challenges she has faced progressing through life. Herrera, a former educator and librarian, chose the Leo Bradley Library to host the launch. She told us what readers can expect.
I have started writing this book for over 30 years. I never realized that I would be writing a book as such. What I used to do, because of all the struggles I was going through, I found peace in writing. So I used to write either letters to God or poetry, and I store them. Over the years, I have decided that, I need to publish this book after going through the poems for many occasions. I decided I need to share because I know that there are many people out there who are going through difficulties and they don't know how to overcome the challenges or where to go. So I figure in my mind, like, hey, if I share these poems, they will know that, I'm not alone in this life. I can find something to do in order for me to overcome these stresses, So that is the main reason why I decided to put the book into poetry and get it out there.
Herrera hopes that through her experiences, she will inspire readers to make the right choices for themselves, even in times of adversity. We asked her about the most significant moments in her life that have influenced her poetry.
The biggest one is domestic abuse. That's a very tough one because many people, both males and females, live in these situations and they say nothing. They need to try and figure out what's the best way out of the situation. And one thing I want to say about that part, domestic abuse, not because you're in it, you're supposed to stick to it. You need to learn to figure what is best for you. The choice is yours. So you don't just stay in a relationship because you want to stay in it. There are different reasons why we stay in it. So give yourself a break. Don't stick to these relationships if you see abuse. there is not going to be a change. I have lived it for 30 years, and I always had hoped that there was going to be change. But there was a different change, not the change you want. So in my case, it went from physical abuse, women, drugs, alcohol. It just changes from one thing to another. So when it comes to that, my advice would be get out of a relationship that has domestic violence.
Jo Marie Lanza, 7 News.
Her book can be purchased at the Angeles Press, Brody's, and Rimmer's Feed Mill, or you can reach out to her at 634-611-3 for a copy. Your Belido company, the Belize Government Lotteries Limited, today made a donation towards improving sports in Belize. This evening, Minister of Sports Anthony Mahler received that donation in a handing over ceremony on behalf of the National Sports Council. The minister spoke more about how the $2 million they receive will be invested into program development and a sports strategy and policy.
Well, this is a commitment from the Prime Minister, from the CEO, and from the Fui Lottery or Fui Bolido. And so this will go a long way in terms of getting the programs for sports going, getting some of the facilities going. We have a long way to go from where we want to be, but this $2 million will be a tremendous help. We're getting the first million today, and then in March we'll get the second million. So we want to invest in some of the programs, developmental programs. Right now we're working on a sports strategy and of course sports policy and the modernization of the legislation, and we're working on some of the facilities, and then we want to develop some of the programs with the federations and the associations who do the heavy lifting day in and day out. But this money will definitely go a long way, and I'm proud to be a part of this process. I'm proud to be a part of this government.
We work to develop social programs in Belize. And so we're already working with the NHI, and we're contributing to the NHI, providing funding for the expansion. And now our board of directors recently approved $2 million for improvement in sports. So today we handed over the first $1 million, and by the end of March we'll be handing over another $1 million. And thereafter we hope to be able to contribute $2 million every year. Our profits are earmarked for social programs. And so that's what we work for every day, that's what we strive for, and we're happy that we're able to be able to fund these initiatives. And our board works tirelessly, they're committed, and at the end of the day, we're happy that we're able to make this contribution.
Tonight, we note the passing of a colleague, journalist, poet, and folk writer Roy Davis. Davis, who had just turned 72, died yesterday of natural causes. Davis started writing newspaper stories in the late 70s. And over many years, he wrote for the Mandala newspaper and worked as a court reporter for this media house and others. We knew him as a gifted writer of easy elegance and absolute economy of words. But he also had a flair for the poetic and a little bit of Bra and Nancy Ina, as he displayed at this book launch in 2004.
I think the dying, the dead, the slaughter, the tears of sorrow that come after, who can stand the pain, who should get the blame. I can identify with Nancy. Maybe because I will consider myself an underdog.
That was the launch of his book, A Nancy Party, in 2004. Roy Davis, dead at 72. Finally tonight, a clarification regarding a story we aired on January 27th concerning credit card fraud in the BPO sector. In that report, generic background footage of a local call center was shown. We wish to clarify that the business featured in that footage was Infotel International, doing business as Voice International. Channel 7 News makes it absolutely clear that Voice International and its employees were not involved in any of the activities described in that story. We do apologize to the management and staff of Voice International for the use of that footage and for any unintended implication to the contrary. That's all we have for you for our newscast tonight. Thanks for watching. With your news, I'm Indra Craig. Remember, you can find a full transcript of the news at 7newsbelize.com and see the streaming video on our Facebook page. Have a great night. Join Miriam Abdul-Kawe here tomorrow, and I'll be back on Monday. So until then, enjoy.